Growing older brings wisdom, memories, and love. But it also brings certain habits, changes, and truths that nobody really warns you about. Some of them are small. Others are, well, a bit ugly to talk about. Today, we'll explore 12 surprisingly unpleasant things seniors often do as they age, and how to handle them with dignity and grace. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the last one, because it's something almost every senior does, but very few even realize they're doing it. First thing, speaking without a filter. One of the first noticeable changes in many seniors is the tendency to speak their mind, without the usual hesitation or social filter. At first, this can seem refreshing, even charming, but sometimes the comments can be blunt, maybe even unintentionally hurtful. Why does this happen? Well, there are a few reasons. As we age, our brains process social cues a little differently. Some areas related to impulse control may slow down, meaning we say what we think before stopping to consider the effect. Others simply reach a stage in life where they value honesty over politeness. They've lived long enough to feel they've earned the right to tell it like it is. Sometimes, this change can be a sign of frustration, loneliness, or even mild cognitive changes. It's important not to jump to conclusions, but also not to ignore it if it's affecting relationships. The best approach: gentle self-awareness. If you notice yourself speaking more bluntly than before, pause before sharing strong opinions. Ask yourself, is what I'm about to say helpful, kind, or necessary? And for loved ones, try to remember that it's rarely meant with malice. After all, communication is a bridge. And as we get older, keeping that bridge strong matters more than ever. A kind word or a moment of thought before speaking can keep connections warm and loving for years to come. Second thing, neglecting personal hygiene. Another change that can quietly appear as we grow older is a decline in personal hygiene. This might mean showering less often, wearing the same clothes for days, or forgetting regular grooming habits like brushing teeth or combing hair. While it may seem like a simple matter of choice, it's often linked to deeper causes. Physical challenges, like arthritis or reduced mobility, can make bathing or changing clothes uncomfortable, even painful. Cognitive changes, such as mild memory loss, may cause someone to forget their routine entirely. And in some cases, emotional factors like depression or grief can take away the motivation to care for oneself. For seniors, acknowledging these challenges without shame is the first step. Small adjustments can make a big difference, like installing grab bars in the bathroom, using a shower chair, or choosing easy-to-wear clothing. Sometimes, setting gentle reminders on a phone or calendar helps maintain a routine. For loved ones, it's important to approach the subject with compassion rather than criticism. A judgmental tone can create defensiveness, while an empathetic conversation can encourage positive change. Try offering practical help, like assisting with laundry or suggesting a trip to the barber or hairdresser, as a fun outing, not a chore. Remember, hygiene isn't just about appearance. It's closely tied to health, dignity, and self-esteem. Taking care of ourselves, even in small ways, is one of the simplest yet most powerful acts of self-respect as we age. Third thing, hoarding and clutter. As the years pass, many seniors find themselves surrounded by possessions, some useful, some sentimental, and others, well, just taking up space. Holding onto items just in case or because they have a memory attached can slowly lead to clutter, and in some cases, even hoarding. This habit often comes from a place of love and nostalgia. Every object might tell a story. The teacup your grandmother used, the jacket worn during a special trip, or the pile of greeting cards from decades past. But while memories are priceless, the physical items can pile up, making living spaces unsafe or overwhelming. For some seniors, there's also a sense of security in keeping things. They've lived through times when resources were scarce, and the idea of throwing something away feels wasteful. But over time, this mindset can turn the home into a maze of belongings that makes daily life harder. The key is balance. Instead of keeping every single item, focus on the ones that truly hold meaning. Passing belongings down to loved ones, donating to charities, or creating memory boxes can help preserve the sentiment without holding on to everything. For family members, the conversation about decluttering should be gentle. Pushing too hard can feel like an attack on a lifetime of memories. Instead, frame it as a way to create more space, safety, and comfort. After all, a home should be filled with love, not just things. Fourth thing, ignoring health advice. It's not uncommon for seniors to start ignoring medical advice, skipping medications, or avoiding doctor visits altogether. Sometimes, this comes from a place of independence, a desire not to feel controlled by others or by a medical schedule. Other times, it's because of fear of bad news, uncomfortable tests, or simply acknowledging that the body is changing. For many who have lived full lives, the constant reminders about health can feel exhausting. Taking multiple pills daily, changing diets, or attending endless appointments can make someone feel like their entire existence revolves around illness. So, they start skipping steps. One missed pill here, one postponed appointment there, until it becomes a habit. But ignoring health advice comes at a cost. Chronic conditions can worsen quietly, and small issues can turn into serious complications. That's why it's important to find ways to make healthcare less overwhelming. Breaking tasks into smaller, manageable steps can help, such as setting alarms for medication or having a trusted family member join you at appointments to take notes and offer support. For loved ones, it's crucial to avoid a lecturing tone. Instead, ask gentle questions. What makes you hesitant to take this medication? Or, how can we make your doctor visits more comfortable? Understanding the why behind the resistance is the first step to helping. Because in the end, health is not about losing freedom. It's about protecting it so we can keep living the life we love. Fifth thing, isolating themselves. One of the quieter, more invisible changes that can happen with age is social withdrawal. A senior who was once lively and engaged may slowly start spending more time alone, avoiding gatherings, skipping phone calls, or turning down invitations. At first, it might seem harmless, but over time, isolation can become one of the most damaging habits for both mental and physical health. There are many reasons for this. Physical challenges like mobility issues or hearing loss can make social situations feel exhausting. The loss of friends or a spouse can lead to loneliness that makes going out feel painful. Even simple things like feeling self-conscious about appearance or memory lapses can push someone towards staying home. The problem is that isolation feeds itself. The less time spent with others, the harder it becomes to return. Loneliness has been linked to higher risks of depression, cognitive decline, and even heart disease. Rebuilding connection doesn't have to mean big parties or crowded places. It could be as simple as regular coffee dates with a friend, joining a local club, or even participating in online groups for shared interests. For loved ones, it's important to offer gentle encouragement without pressure. Remember, social connection is not just a luxury, it's a lifeline. Staying connected keeps the mind sharp, the heart full, and the spirit strong. No one should spend their later years feeling invisible or forgotten. Sixth thing, becoming stubborn about change. Change is a constant in life, but as we get older, many of us find it harder to embrace. Seniors often grow comfortable with familiar routines, habits, and ways of doing things. When something new, whether it's technology, a different medical treatment, or even a change in furniture arrangement, comes along, it can feel disruptive, even threatening. This stubbornness isn't always about being difficult. Often, it's rooted in comfort, safety, and identity. A certain way of cooking, paying bills, or traveling may have worked perfectly for decades, so the thought of changing it can feel unnecessary. In some cases, past negative experiences with change make people more protective of their routines. But resisting all change can create challenges. Technology, for example, can improve safety and connection, like video calls with family or health monitoring devices. Medical advancements can offer better treatment options. Even small changes in the home can prevent accidents. The key is to approach change gradually. Rather than expecting a complete overhaul overnight, introduce one small change at a time. Celebrate little successes, and always connect the change to something meaningful, like how learning a smartphone app can mean seeing your grandchild's face every day. For loved ones, patience is essential. Don't frame change as a loss of the old way. Frame it as a way to make life easier, safer, and more joyful. Because sometimes, the smallest changes can open the door to the biggest improvements. Seventh thing, talking about illness constantly. As we age, health naturally becomes a bigger part of life. Doctor visits, medications, aches, and medical tests can start to fill our calendars. And, sometimes, our conversations. Many seniors find themselves talking about illnesses, treatments, or symptoms almost every time they interact with others. While sharing health experiences can be a way of seeking support, it can also unintentionally dominate relationships. Friends and family might begin to associate time together with medical talk rather than joyful memories or meaningful discussions. This habit often comes from a place of vulnerability. Health issues can feel overwhelming, and talking about them offers a sense of control or understanding. Sometimes, it's the only topic that feels current and relatable, especially if other life changes, like retirement or loss, have reduced other conversation starters. The goal is not to silence these conversations, but to find a balance. Setting aside health talk for a portion of the visit, then shifting to other topics, like hobbies, memories, travel dreams, or family updates, can create more enjoyable interactions. For loved ones, gently guiding the conversation with curiosity about other aspects of life can help. Ask about old stories, new interests, or shared plans for the future. After all, while our health matters, it doesn't define us. Life is about more than aches and pains. It's about the connections, laughter, and experiences that make each day worth living. 8th thing, losing patience. Easily. Patience is a virtue, but it's one that can be tested more often as we get older. Many seniors find themselves becoming more easily irritated, whether it's with slow service at a store, noisy neighbors, or even family members who don't quite understand their needs. There are several reasons for this shift. Physical discomfort, chronic pain, or fatigue can make small frustrations feel much bigger. Hearing or vision changes can add stress to daily interactions. And let's not forget, after decades of life experience, some people simply have less tolerance for what they see as unnecessary fuss or inefficiency. But while occasional irritability is normal, constant impatience can create strain in relationships. Loved ones may start to feel hesitant to visit or share things, worried about triggering an outburst. The good news is that patience can be rebuilt with awareness. Simple habits, like pausing to take a deep breath, walking away from a frustrating moment, or even practicing light mindfulness exercises, can make a world of difference. For loved ones, showing empathy instead of matching irritation is key. A calm, understanding response often helps defuse tension faster than arguing back. At its heart, patience is a gift to ourselves and to others. Life moves more smoothly when we allow space for imperfection, slow moments, and the occasional bump in the road. After all, kindness and understanding never go out of style, no matter our age. 9th thing, oversharing personal stories. One charming yet sometimes tricky habit many seniors develop is repeating the same personal stories over and over, often without realizing it. You might find yourself telling the tale of your first job, your wedding day, or a memorable holiday, only to be reminded by a loved one that they've heard it before, maybe even several times. This repetition usually comes from one of two places. Sometimes it's pure joy. The memory is so precious that sharing it feels good every single time. Other times, it's related to mild memory changes, where it's easy to forget which stories you've already told. While these stories are part of your history and identity, oversharing them can sometimes cause conversations to feel predictable or one-sided. The people listening may love you deeply, but also crave variety in your interactions. One way to keep storytelling fresh is to expand on those familiar tales. Add new details. Reflect on how that event shaped you, or connect it to something happening today. You might also try asking others to share their own memories. This turns the moment into a true exchange instead of a monologue. For loved ones, patience is key. Even if you've heard a story before, responding with warmth rather than impatience can keep the storyteller's dignity intact. Because in the end, these stories are treasures, threads of a life well lived, and with a little care, they can remain a joy to hear and to tell. 10th thing, making risky financial choices. One of the more worrying habits that can develop in later years is making risky financial decisions. This could mean overspending on unnecessary items, giving large amounts of money to strangers or new acquaintances, or falling victim to scams and fraud. Sadly, scammers often target seniors specifically, knowing they may be more trusting or less familiar with online dangers. But it's not always about scams. Sometimes, financial risk comes from generosity, wanting to help family members or friends, even if it means sacrificing personal security. Other times, it comes from a desire to enjoy life's pleasures without worrying about tomorrow. While these feelings are understandable, they can lead to serious problems if savings are drained too quickly. Protecting financial health is just as important as protecting physical health. Simple steps, like having a trusted family member help review large purchases or financial documents, can prevent costly mistakes. Setting clear monthly budgets and using fraud alerts from banks can also add an extra layer of protection. For loved ones, the key is to approach the subject with care. Money is deeply personal, and feeling judged or controlled can lead to resistance. Instead, frame the conversation around security and independence, making sure that financial stability allows for freedom and peace of mind for years to come. Remember, wise money choices aren't about denying joy. They're about ensuring you can keep living comfortably, confidently, and on your own terms. 11th thing, eating unhealthy comfort foods. As we grow older, our relationship with food often changes. Many seniors begin to gravitate toward familiar comfort foods, the biscuits from childhood, the sugary desserts that remind them of holidays, or the salty snacks that are quick and satisfying. While there's nothing wrong with enjoying these in moderation, relying on them too much can harm health over time. The challenge is that comfort foods are often high in sugar, salt, or unhealthy fats. They can contribute to weight gain, high blood pressure, diabetes, and heart problems, conditions that are already more common in later years. On top of that, taste buds can change with age, leading some to prefer stronger flavors, which can make these foods even more appealing. Emotional comfort plays a big role too. Food can be a source of nostalgia and joy, especially when other pleasures, like travel or certain activities, become harder to access. That's why it's important to find a balance between comfort and nutrition. Simple swaps can make a big difference. Fresh fruit instead of sweets, lightly salted nuts instead of chips, or baking favorite recipes with healthier ingredients. Cooking with family can also turn mealtimes into warm, shared experiences, rather than just another daily task. For loved ones, the goal isn't to take away favorite treats, but to help create healthier versions. Because food isn't just fuel, it's a source of joy. And with a little care, it can be both delicious and nourishing well into our later years. 12th thing, becoming overly critical of others. This last one is the habit I mentioned at the start, something many seniors do without even realizing it, becoming overly critical of others. It can begin subtly, pointing out small mistakes, commenting on someone's appearance, or questioning the way things are done. Over time, these comments can start to feel constant to the people around you. Why does this happen? For some, it's a way of maintaining standards they've held their entire lives. For others, it's a reflection of frustration, with the world changing too quickly, with personal limitations, or even with their own health challenges. In some cases, it's simply a habit formed over years, where speaking one's opinion feels natural, regardless of how it lands. The problem is that excessive criticism can strain relationships, especially with younger generations. It can make loved ones feel judged or unappreciated, and eventually they may pull away to avoid the discomfort. The good news is that awareness can change everything. Before offering criticism, pause and ask, is this helpful, or am I just expressing disapproval? Finding something positive to mention first can soften the impact, or even make criticism unnecessary. For loved ones, patience is important, but so is setting gentle boundaries. Letting someone know how their words affect you can encourage a shift toward more kindness. After all, the goal in our later years isn't to sharpen our criticism, it's to deepen our connections. Kindness leaves a far greater legacy than fault-finding ever will. Aging isn't always graceful, and that's okay. What matters is understanding these changes and finding ways to navigate them with compassion, both for ourselves and for those we love. If you found this video helpful, Share it with a friend or family member who might need it, and make sure to like and subscribe and comment which thing is in you. And remember, growing older is a privilege, but growing wiser is a choice.